Hey, Tom.
Hey, Randy.
Thanks for coming by.
How are you? Nice
Good.
to
How
see
you
you.
doing?
I love your old house. This is beautiful. And the interior is nice. I like the high ceilings, a lot of glass. Beautiful.
Yeah, we love it. We love the high ceilings and the large windows.
What's the idea of the stick in the window there?
So with this one, we're having issues with the top sash falling down, so the stick is keeping it up.
Aha. But does the window still work?
So the bottom sash has the weights and the cord, so it's working.
Yeah. Well, interesting. These are double hung windows, all right, and 2 lights. There's 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top. Do you know why you have what is called a double hung window?
I don't know.
All right, a double hung window is technically meant to vent your house in warm weather. And the way you do that is you actually draw the top sash down about 6 inches. You raise the bottom sash up about 6 inches, and natural convection would bring the cooler air in. It would come around, and it would take the warmer air that's up at the ceiling and pull it out the window, venting the house.
That's great. We could really use that.
You could?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I bet you could.
We don't have air conditioning, so.
But you know what? I have a specialist, and she really knows and works on these old windows. She knows all the tricks, and maybe we can both learn something.
That sounds great.
All right, she's coming. Let me see if she's here yet.
Awesome.
Well, Allison, thanks so much for joining us, and I know that you specialize in restoration of old windows, so I know that we can both use a few tips.
Well, thanks for having me here. It's nice to see the original windows and the original openings. Obviously, they have some problems with operability, so we need to fix all of that today.
Yeah.
To get started, we have to remove what's called the front stop.
Right.
These are typically a 1/2 inch thick. This one has a round over bead. So we're going to need to break that paint line there and remove the screws. And because we're going to be doing the whole kit and caboodle, we're going to take off both front stops, the left and the right. And then the fun part is always getting the upper sash out, which is held in by these 2 small pieces of wood called the parting bead or parting stop.
Parting bead actually holds the top sash into position, and that parting bead is actually held into a dado or a groove that runs down each side and pushed in under friction, and that holds the top sash in where it belongs.
And for a small piece of wood, they have caused me a great deal of time. So getting those out is it's an interesting process to do, but then we can have the upper sash out, and then we can really get to work.
All right, I guess the first thing we want to do is prep the area.
Get some tools.
Okay.
All right, Randy, I'm gonna have you start by taking the screws out.
Okay.
So these are slotted screws. If you can get the paint out of the slot, we should be able to get them to go.
Okay.
Next, we're gonna take off the front stops. Work up. Pull out from the middle, release the bottom, and release the top. Release the bottom. So now we can move on to removing the lower sash. All right, first we need to unlock the window.
Yep.
And then it's always a good idea to keep a hand on the upper in case it falls. Pull the knots out outside. It's just tied a slip knot so that we don't lose it. All right, so now we're ready to remove the parting beads. So to do that, we have to take this board out. So if you can push up on the sash, I will see if I can get the board out. Yay.
The sash doesn't have any weights on it, so there's no balancing of that window. You have to hold the window.
Great. So now that we have it all the way down, this is much easier to pull out.
Let's see.
We still have to deal with this parting bead a bit, so I usually just pry this forward a little bit, and then we can work it out. And now we can take the upper sash out without taking out the second one, and it's just a little bit easier. So we'll do the same thing where we lift it up, or try to, and pull it out.
Works right out.
All right, so now that we have the window out, we're gonna go clean it. Tom, if you can clean up this bead of paint that's been formed on the blind stop, that would make the windows operate much easier.
Okay, so I'll get that all cleaned up, and I'll also tighten up that pulley there that the screw's missing too, and we'll be in good shape and ready for you guys.
Perfect. Okay, so now that we have our sash out, it's much easier to clean them here flat on a table than hanging up in the air.
Sure, yeah.
So I'm using a vacuum attached scraper to remove all of the paint that's protruding. I want to make a flat surface So all the debris is going right into the HEPA vat.
Wow,
Looks a lot better.
it looks a lot better. Okay, so we're ready to get started on the weather stripping. We need to weather strip the upper sash first because that has to go in first. So we cut our weather strip the length of the sash, and now I'm just going to nail it up. Now we can finally do the sash cords. Where are the weights?
Yep.
The weights are in these weight pockets. So here's our weight. It weighs 7 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's the exact same weight as the sash. So they'll go up and down easy and stay wherever you want them to stay.
So now
Yep.
it's time to rope.
Nice.
And then I'm going to attach a piece of sash chain to the end of my cord to act as a mouse or a weight.
Yep.
Because the sash cord, if I just feed it through, will just jam up in the pocket.
You won't be able to get it out from
So
the pocket.
this gives it some weight.
Okay.
So you're going to start with the front pulley, so the pulley for the lower sash. And you'll drop it down through here, and I'll grab it.
Okay.
Ah, there we go.
Got it.
Yep. Okay. And you are now going to do the front pulley on the other side.
Pulling on the other side. Okay.
Okay. So now that's the other front pulley. Now we're going to go behind this cord and up to the back. Up, there it is. And now, again, going behind, you want to get the last pulley over there.
Okay.
So you notice Allison's not having you cut individual lines for each pulley. She's having one piece cross the opening up and down. And then, once it's done, you'll cut individual pieces and fine tune it later, which will save a little bit of time.
So now we get to do our favorite thing, which is to tie off the weights. I'm going to do what's called a sash weight knot. So I'm going to pull it around, 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 and then go up and through. And the reason why I care about the kind of knot is because we want a knot that's tight to the weight so that it doesn't bounce around. And we want one that doesn't have much of a tail to get in the way. Because again, we have a pocket with 2 weights and there's not much room in there.
Right.
So this makes a nice, neat knot that holds it up. We're going to put the weight back in the pocket. And then I'm going to take and cut this rope. I want the weight to stay under tension when the sash is in there. So I'm going to leave it on the bottom now, mark where that is, and then cut my rope and tie a knot in it. So I'm going to knot it. And then because I want my weight up and out of the way, I'm just going to put a slip knot in it. Okay, 1 down.
Great.
And now we're going to do weight number 2.
Okay.
We're ready to hang the upper sash.
Awesome.
And if you could grab the cord for the upper, correct? So pull the rope all the way until you can feel the weight hitting the pulley. And then we want the knot to be right where that hole is.
Okay.
Then just for security, I like to put a screw through the knot. Nice. No stick needed. Okay, so we have the upper sash in. Now we can put the parting beads in, repeat the process for the lower sash.
So I want to fit it up into a slot up there at the top stop. Push it right in there. So the bottom of the nail is right at the bottom of the parting bead. Now I angle it so it goes into the sill. You don't want to drive it in too deep. Now I'll just bend that over. And that will hold the parting bead for coming out of the slot.
All right.
All right, Randy, it was a great project. I think everything got fixed up the way you like it. What do you think?
It looks great. Let's try it out.
You're gonna bring the bottom up and bring the top down, and now you have a vented window.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Great.
Tom, Allison, thanks so much. I learned a lot and looking forward to applying it to the rest of the house.
Yeah, it's a good project.
Yeah.
If it gets snug again, you can always wax the tracks a little bit. If you need to move the stops in or out, you can adjust those as needed as the weather changes. But otherwise, you now have a working window.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
And Allison, thank you for all your great expertise on teaching Randy and me on how to install and repair an old window.
You are most welcome.
All right. See you later, Randy. Take care.
Allison.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button to make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.